second place in his group, taking down Raynor to be here. So obviously was feeling pretty in shape. What's up, Photon Man 123? Thank you so much for the 30-month resub. As we are already into the games. Alright, well, we are not wasting, like I said, any time at all today, guys. We are just going. And getting to start. Sorry, I just need to readjust a couple of things quickly. Things are not quite the size they should be on my screen and stuff. Just give me a quick moment or two. I wasn't really expecting them to. I mean, I should have been, but like this event, honestly, it starts so on time every single day. It's actually for a Starcraft 2 event from China, it's kind of impressive how on time they are. Alright, I think we're good to begin, guys. I think we're good to start talking about this stuff, as Solo versus Time is our starting matchup of the day. Best of 5 series, of course. Let's have a look to see just what's going to happen as we get this rolling, we get this underway, we get this all started on up. Time versus Solar for map number 1. Best of 5, like I say, it's the round of 8. The winner of this plays the winner of our next series today, which is going to be Maru versus Clem. That's going to be our second series of today, so we kind of got a good few matches coming your way, guys. So yeah, I don't want to brag, but you know, Time Solar, a bit of TVZ warm. By the way, I'm so warmed up from TVZ after so many maps of Terran versus Zerg yesterday. But yeah, then we get Maru versus Clem, and I know a lot of people don't get hyped about the mirror matchups, but if there's a mirror matchup to be hyped about, that one is it. So make sure you drop by for that, or stick around for that a little bit further down the line today. It's going to be an absolute party of a StarCraft 2 day. Of course, ESL Open Cup Europe coming up later today as well. So that's something to keep in mind too for you guys, that's happening later. Yeah, anything else to add? Not really, I don't think, guys. I think that's just about it. Big day of StarCraft. We'll see what we do in terms of keeping the day rolling and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'll let you guys know. I'll keep you guys up to date. Obviously, we'll see how long these first couple of best of 5s take us to begin with, as we get this all started up. So, kicking this off, getting this going. Map number 1 is going to be on 2,000 atmospheres. So, getting this 2,000 atmospheres map lined up and ready to rumble. As the Reaper comes down the bottom side, I feel Ling's going to show up and put some damage on that Reaper. So, a bit of back and forth to start us off there. No surprise on that. Let me turn up the sound a little bit. I feel like the sounds are kind of quiet. Is that okay for you guys? We'll try it here for now. We'll see how it goes. And, yeah, we'll just, we'll give it a go, guys. We'll give it a go. Alright, so link speed coming through. And we do see a pretty typical 3cc out of time. That is the build we're probably expecting to see the most here. Although in a best of 5 would be strange if he didn't mix it up at all. Now, Solar, generally just an all-around strong player, right? What I do wonder is if Solar taking on Time is going to be... You know, like, how dominant is Solar going to be today? Time, we know his TVZ can be great. We saw Solar kind of get messed around a little bit by Cure, but Cure was looking fantastic in the group stages, so I don't think you can fault Solar for that at all. So, yeah, how do we think this series goes? I mean, I kind of got my money on Solar for sure. My biggest question is just how much of a fight does Time put up, and I think, I'm going to say Time takes one map. I think Solar just shows up a little bit. And that's the thing. Time usually looks good. When it comes to the bigger events, even though he might make it through a group stage, which he did this time around very handily, but even after the group stage, like usually when it comes to the playoffs or something, that's where Time seems to fizzle out a bit. Or, like, he can put up a fight, but he just can't quite break through, you know? So, yeah, just going to be seeing these Hellions and a Reaper just hanging around. As we do have the army coming around. Overlord scouts in, confirms triple CC, right, which is good to know about, but that's pretty much all the information you're going to get. There is an armor on the way, so there's going to be Hellbats on the follow-up as well from Time. We're just going to be seeing our Reaper hopping up to the high ground. Yeah, I mean, let's see how this armory goes, because at the moment, Solar isn't super ready to, you know, to deal with this, although he does have Queens, and of course, there's only going to be so much power in this attack. I kind of like the idea of sending some Hellions and Hellbats into the main and some elsewhere, because, especially when you don't have a lot of units on the map ready, That's where you can actually really do pretty well with those Hellbats, kind of splitting them up a bit and, you know, maybe kind of forcing the Queens. You know, the Queens can't all just stack together and target fire down Hellbats one by one. It's just spreading a bit of creep out, and these few Hellions are going to move through into the main base. Just going to see our Hellions dropping down, morphing into Hellbats, and already moving through. So first Queen here in a bit of trouble. Again, I mean, the medevac's already low, though, so no healing on this. The Lynx can probably surround this without too much issue. The biggest play is the Hellions on the low ground. They are getting drones, but they're not finding the stacked-up drones. Only 5 workers, and for the investment into the armory, and that is an investment, right? That does cost you a little bit of money. This just didn't do enough, right? 5 drones, you lose. I mean, at least you keep some of the Hellions alive, so you've got a little bit of map control left, but yeah, that wasn't great. Of course, times on a 3cc didn't need to do mega damage, but it's still an investment made that he could have just had going somewhere else, or something along those lines. So, yeah, it could have just been maybe a little better. As we do come on through, these Lings are going to counterattack and immediately just going to have a couple of Hellbats picked off right there. So they go down with, well, very quick ease. They do not hang around at all. Let's just have our 1-1 upgrades coming in as well. So all of that continues to set up right now. There's still a 1-1 upgrade lead for the Terran player, despite the armory, which would have been delayed on the engineering base, which kind of goes to show just how much of a lead you could have had if you hadn't gone for that. Which is why when I'm talking about the idea of, you know, what if you hadn't gone for the armory, where could you have been by now? That's the sort of better position we could have been looking at here, so. Hey, what's up, Dragoth? Thank you so much for the 3-month resub on the Prime. Welcome back as we really do settle down in this game. Lots of Ling Bane, no tech structure just yet from Solar. Still yet to give us a little bit of action and a little bit of an idea as to how the rest of this game's going to play out, unless it is just going to be a lot of Ling Bane, as those Marines got dangerously close to Banelings right there. That was not quite what we want to see as the Terran player. Just gets a little bit scary, gets, you know, a little bit butt clenching in those moments for sure. So surviving, that's of course an important part of this as well. As those Marines do just lift up and go elsewhere, but Soul's doing a great job of defending his creep spread. His creep spread is looking fantastic. All around the map, there's creep pretty much everywhere at the moment. Yeah, I mean, not really much else to say, as these few Marines are going to get lifted up. They're going to have to boost away back up to the upper right-hand side. And they're just going to be pulling up to the top. They're still not on GSL group nomination. Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. Maybe this is a replay. Sorry, yeah, in that case, I have no idea, guys. Like, I have no idea if it's a replay or not. It might be. I don't know how that works, so. Yeah. Possibly. I will probably know at the end of this game. We'll be able to, we'll be able to see what's up. For now, just enjoy the games, because if nothing else, it may as well be live, because you guys literally can't tell the difference anyway. I can't tell the difference, so yeah, no. I mean, in this situation, guys, no one knows the result of this match, so you know, that may as well be live, right, at that stage. These Marines going to load up into medevacs, going to boost away through the top. On the bottom side, these Marines are going to be pulling back. Banes rolling in at the Marines, which do lift up once again. And time just going to bring the rest of this army around the top again. Looking at a hive on the way from Solar. Not too surprising nowadays. The pure Ling Bane style just kind of sets up into a situation where, you know, you go pure Ling Bane, but then you go into the Lurkers later. So we've seen that more and more lately. There's just going to be seeing our creep achievements being picked away at, so clearing out some creep through this top side, creating a lot of space. As we're going to see the Ling Bane continuing through, these Marines in a bit of trouble. Just the tanks trying to keep this army at bay, as now we got Lings going to go and attach themselves to a set of rocks over on the right as well. It's just picking their way through that, setting that up as well. And of course, so yeah, we continue onward. Just going to be seeing more and more Marines continue to pour out. Tank going to get sieged up here. Instead of Ling Bane having to pull back a little bit, and just going to be seeing these other Marines coming through. A little bit of creep spread going to start getting cleaned out as well. It's just time on a bit of a push, but it's so difficult for him to push anywhere, right? And now the Lurkers are going to be out. They're getting their upgrades. The Vipers are coming in. It just takes you so long to get anywhere meaningful because of all of this creep spread, and that's going to be the real problem, right? That's where you really get slowed up in this. It's just going to be seeing our army trying to step foot on creep. Here we go, Ling Bane on either side. Gonna start crashing into this. Tank fire is looking pretty decent. A lot of Ling Bane still at the front here, taking a lot of damage. Marines and tanks continue to come on through. I mean, not a bad fight at all from Time, and Solo gonna have to rebuild off the back of this. And I'll tell you what, he's not been able to bring lurkers into play just yet. If he had a few lurkers, this would be a very different story, but he's not had the chance to morph them. He's not had seismic spines finished, so what a timing for Time to attack. I wonder if Solo should just give up this base, go and mine the bottom side instead. I know it's not nice to give up this location, but, you know, taking these fights again and again isn't good for you either, especially when given time. You're just going to get lurkers up, and then Time has to slow down the attacks. Then he can't just push into this as easily. He has to approach it in a completely different way. We're going to see this Bioforce continuing through these tanks. Well, one of them gets taken down pretty much right away. The rest of the Marines continuing through as well. Overlord going to be in a little bit of trouble. The Ling Bane Lurker. And as the Lurkers, one of them finishes up. Nope. Okay, two of them get finished up in total. They're going to be able to come through here and just try to push these Marines back as well. The Bioforce is trying to fight against a few more units here and there. In the meantime, this push has really been doing good. Can Solar stabilize? I mean, this is the sort of game where I kind of feel like Solar had a good start. I feel it's the sort of game where Solar should be doing pretty well, but he's struggling, guys. He's struggling. I mean, now we're just about cast on to clean this up. A lot of Lings in the top right will come and help, and that one last siege tank will go down too, so that is going to be overall a cleanup. So it is a cleanup overall. How do we feel after that? Do we like it for Time at all? About 20 supply down, that's pretty normal. 5th base on the way up, I think that's pretty important. Starts 3-3. I mean, upgrades from Solo continue to just kind of move on through as well, though, so he's getting his own upgrades pretty comfortably. Then you got Vikings on the way out from Time as well. I think I like it for Solo simply for the fact he's now survived in an alright position. And in surviving into this position, he's now got lurkers, so his game is going to improve, right? This is not going to be as easy for Time in the future. And okay, Solo got knocked down to 5 bases, but holding 6 bases will be much easier given the additional tech he now has on the field. Time's army is still very much so the same, double producing tanks. And don't get me wrong, that is a good thing to do. That's the right idea when you're playing against these, You know what I mean, right? You look at these lurkers and stuff like that, and it's really a situation where you can't maybe attack in with the double tank production, but at the same time, can you really, like, can you push in with double tank production? No, not really. You kind of need the ghost to push into lurkers at all. So that's what I'm saying. Unless you have, like, one really strong directional push with, like, lib tank, which maybe Time can do, that's the only way. And right now, he's just not in position at all to defend this 5th base, and that's a shame, because the 5th base obviously was one of the things he would have really liked to keep here. I mean, that's kind of crazy, though, as well, because he actually has the Sensor Tower to see if the army comes towards the 3rd base. Attack on the top side, by the way, is going to get some SCVs. As this drop down here will do okay. Bane's chasing, and he will chase this out. Yeah, that one lurker doing some damage up on the top. Yeah, but what I wanted to say is he has the Sensor Tower to kind of watch for the 3rd base location coming under attack. So why doesn't he have his army more to the bottom right? I can understand it being centralized in case the top left comes under attack. But yeah, I mean, that just felt like the 5th base was given up for free, you know? Time wasn't even in, slightly in position. He couldn't even begin to contest that. So that was pretty rough as Solo. And taking down the 5th base, it just slows that economy of Time down that little bit extra from where he really wants it to be slowed down. So definitely puts you in that little bit of a tougher position. As we do have our lurkers falling back, our army's pushing. I mean, this is going to be the most difficult part for Solo, cleaning up this big push, tank liberators. I mean, you don't have enough Vipers here necessarily to clean all of these up or to get all of the spell casting off that you would like to see. These few Lings are going to go running up the top side. They're going to start running in. SCVs are going to be under fire right now, so, I mean, massive counterattack. First real time we're seeing a lot of kind of units go to the counterattack, and that's going to work some wonders, honestly. It's doing magical amounts of damage. 26 SCVs going down already. And it's just one of those things where Time is now like, right, I've just got it all in. He knows he's got it all in. He's already pushing down this side. The damage is already being done. There's no point falling back to protect the base with no SCVs on it. He knows he needs to push, he needs to do some damage himself. He's got a few goes, he's got a good tank line. Is it enough to push in? 130 army supply versus 116 with a lot of Solo's army supply countering? It's not impossible. I don't want to be like super negative here. I think there is a chance. You can see even his reinforcements now ended up taking bad fights against these Zerglings. And that's part of the issue as well. Now you're not reinforcing this bottom army, and Solar just says, I can send more and more across the map right now. As he just rallies so much up there. So completely just saying to Time, well, if you're not actually going to move forward with that army, I'm just going to make the counterattack even worse for you. Bust down depots. Okay, now Time realizes, yeah, that army's up there. I've got to take this chance to move in. But Solar's already been setting up the top left side of the map. And yeah, I mean, again, Solar's in a position where he can rebuild a lot more than Time's going to be able to rebuild. And in that situation, obviously, you know, as Solar, he can just take down a lot of the production and then boom. Come back home, clean up house. And then Time can't rebuild anything, and Solar's still got at least some production available, some bases available in general. So I like it a lot. These lurkers coming through, of course. I mean, you're forcing the orbitals to take off as well. There's not going to be a lot of scan energy to deal with lurkers as well. So, I mean, that alone is going to become a problem here, perhaps, as Solar does start to lose some of his important tech structures, the hydrogen going down. Where exactly does Solar want to protect is a pretty good question. Does he want to... I mean, I guess you don't really get to defend the main base here just from the positioning of his army, but yeah, maybe he can do something. Maybe he can wrap around from the top side or so. I'm not 100% sure, actually, guys. As I mean, obviously, Time's just continuing to lose a lot. He tried to reland his production. Solo already found it. I think Solo just rebuilds production top left, and that is what he's doing. Because, I mean, how do you defend this main base? You kind of just don't. But that's okay. You don't necessarily need to defend the main base in this situation, which might sound a bit crazy, but it's very true, right? Like, just rebuild your production elsewhere. This army of Time is all in. You've got time. You've got a mining base. You make the most of it. Whereas Time really doesn't have much. Maybe a planetary still alive, top side of the map. I think that's about it. Maybe the right side planetary is alive as well. That's where it looks like there's a bunch of units moving to. That is a planetary. SCVs are not going to surround it, so planetary will just die to the Zergling fire in the near future. "36 drones dead, 13 SCVs. Oh no, the lurkers spring a surprise attack. They just waited for that army to be on top of them, and that's going to be disaster, and that's going to be game one, going the way of Solar. I see. Alright, we're going to dive into this next game of Time versus Solar. As we kick this off for game number 2. Hey, Wardy, great casting in TSL yesterday. Those were some awesome games. Yeah, me and Roddy got blessed. You know, the last couple of times me and Roddy have casted, we've actually been blessed with really good games, which is funny. And I mentioned this on broadcast briefly, but there was a while, and I think it was like the first TSL or the last TSL, and every time me and Roddy would cast together, it was just like, we would just get terrible games. Like, it was just the day of 3 zeros, and everything was like, oh, everybody who's meant to win didn't just win, they won convincingly. And that happened when we cast in DreamHack as well last year and stuff. And then it was kind of a joke too, because we didn't get to cast with each other in DreamHack for like 2 seasons. And we were just like, man, do we ever get to cast good games together anymore? But the last time we cast in DreamHack and casting in TSL, it has been a bit different. Yeah, kind of sad I could only do this weekend of TSL. It was a little unfortunate. I told them with World Team League playoffs I wouldn't be available for the last weekend. There's a bit of miscommunication, so I didn't do the first weekend. But yeah, it's a little bit of a shame, because then they actually moved the World Team League playoffs, so I actually was available for the final weekend. Just, I was available, just obviously I didn't know they were going to move World Team League, right? So, a little unfortunate. Hey, what's up, Tugger Star? 30-month resub on the Prime. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it. Hey, what is 4 AM for West Coast? So please give a spoiler warning if you want to say anything about GSL. I mean, I can't help it if I talk about Starcraft, man. It's kind of my job. I'd say watch out for chat more than me, because, I mean, honestly, I don't think there's anything to say about GSL today, so... But for future reference, I will talk about games that are happening and stuff, because it's kind of just my job, and some people get mad if I don't mention it and stuff, and so on. So I appreciate this VODs and stuff, but I'd rather you go watch the GSL VODs and then catch me later or something. But I don't want to ruin your GSL experience or anything. Yeah, sorry guys, so basically when this last game ended, I would have been able to check if it was a replay or not, but then I forgot that I was meant to be checking, so I'll let you guys know soon, basically. After this game, I promise I'll try and remember to check it. I mean, that Gus game turned out to be pretty crazy. Let's talk about this game a little bit then as the Reaper and Link start dancing, because it is Blackburn for map number 2. This is one of, this is obviously the map that Time says, right, I want to play this map. This was his first pick pretty much, I would imagine, based on just kind of how map orders usually work in this matchup. So I imagine he comes into this saying, yeah, this is my pick. This is what I want to play on right here. Let's see what he comes out with. It's a good map for Terran because of the pushing directions you can pull out on this map, right? You can go across through the bottom side on a really direct push that can be very successful. I'm just going to see this Reaper pinging away at the hatchery. Queen coming through, putting some damage out. Sometimes they do send representatives to do their group nomination selections for them. I've never seen that, though. I mean, it makes sense. I just wonder, because obviously this is an online tournament and stuff. I wonder what the situation is. Like, I wonder who won the war. Like, I wonder if GSL won the no, you must show up to group nominations, or if Next won the no, you must play your playoff matches live. That's what I'm mostly wondering right now. Because I'm pretty sure that's a conversation that the players have had with each of these tournament organizers, trying to figure this out. So yeah, we'll see. The thing is, I think most of the time GSL would take precedent, but then of course it's just group nominations, group selections. In which case it is feasible to actually not be there and maybe still have your pick and whatever, etc, etc. So, yeah. His two Marines gonna grab the Overlord, so Overlord will go down. It's a fusion core opening from Time. What a way to change it up on one of the preferred Terran maps. So gonna open the BC. We'll see if he ends up playing mech in full, or if he just wants to go for that one BC typically into the bio transition. That's obviously an option for him as well here. So a couple of choices as that Reaper Grenade's going to go down, bop a couple of Queens backwards for a moment or two. And for the moment, that creep spread is moving on forward. Coming over to that far left-hand side. So creep spread pushing forward here. As we do have the armory now going to build up here from Time as well. So he's going to really go with this first wave of Hellbat BC. It's initially going to be pretty committed. Can you still go into bio from this? Yeah, I would say so. The armory is obviously more of an investment. It does make it a little slower of a transition, but it wouldn't say it's impossible. Now, with Yamato starting, I'm going to say bio is out the window. I say it's mech time. And the reason for that is that Yamato just doesn't make sense on one battle cruiser. It's just not worthwhile. It's not worth the investment. But if you're going to make more than one BC, it absolutely is worth the investment. And this is a nice... There's a nice little something for Time there. Solar scouts, and what he scouts is kind of a couple Hellions and a Marine or two. And I'm like, well, you see the Marines, so it's not like you're seeing no bio units. Solar drops the very fast Spire post-Rotron as well, though. It kind of feels as though he's on his way to everything he would need to truly defend against this. That's going to be seen. Hellions morphing into Hellbats. BC is going to teleport in. Roaches and Lings are going to get chased back to start us off. BC just going to activate onto that Overseer, and the Overseer does take a little bit of damage, so a bit of damage being done. These Hellbats are going to morph back into Hellions. I'm just going to pull back, so that's not so bad. This counterattack of Solar comes in. It's going to force the army of Time back over here. Yeah, good initial defense, right? Good way to get started at the very least, as now we're going to see that Ling Roach Queen Force just going to come back through the middle of the map as well. So it's going to keep on moving here as our Hellions go up around the top side. Again, Spy is going to be done soon. Battlecruiser is about to finish up. Yamato is still on the way in. The rest of our Queens all coming down. I'm just getting ready to defend. Here come the Corruptors, of course, to fight off the Battlecruisers, as we're just going to be seeing our Hellions just going to dive in. A couple of Lings. Going to be taking some damage. That Queen is going to be picked off, so just going to take that down nice and quickly. Just a couple of drones going down. Again, Corruptors are on the way. They're going to spawn out and chase this BC. This BC should have a teleport, right? And I should be able to teleport out of trouble. We're about to find out if we weren't looking at Lings in the middle of the map. BC teleporting, teleport. Okay, it got away. Just going to be seeing Ling Roach continuing through. We are just going to be seeing our big push starting to fight. So Here's the thing, right? You actually just pick off one of these BCs pretty much immediately, so that's already a pretty good start. And now what? I mean, these Corruptors are going to get another battlecruiser here. The Roach Ravager on the ground doesn't really have anything to stop it. One tank starts to siege up. I mean, are the Hellbats actually getting the job done here? Flings run by. I mean, this was a very weird attack because it felt like Solo didn't have as much power as he usually would. He needs his Corrosive Bowels to go on that one siege tank, which is not even that far back, right? I feel like that should be reachable by Biles, but Solo's just having trouble actually getting forward here. And this ground army of time, the Hellbats are just really tanky, and they are slowing down the Roach forces significantly so far. As we go back and forth a little bit one more time here, we're going to have our army just going to open up these rocks Solo as well. I mean, a new BC showing up. I guess the Corruptors are still around though. Right there they are to the top side. So that BC comes in, drops the Yamato, can teleport out, I'd imagine. He's going to have a teleport on that BC. Maybe it's the BC from before. He does have a teleport. He's just going to try and repair it. I don't understand that. I mean, that's a savable battlecruiser. Even if just for a few more moments, you come back in, you use it again. Doesn't really make sense. Just let that go down. Repairing the tanks once more, but honestly, I kind of feel like Solo has done what he needs to so far. The only thing that I would say is that he really has struggled. Like, he just hasn't had the damage to break through the Hellbats and stuff. Maybe if this tank count can build up a little bit, but there's also not many Hellbats left anymore, so the Lings are being made right now. They're going to cause a problem. And we're also going to be seeing these Corruptors just going to sit overhead, and they're going to start spraying down a couple factories. There is no anti-air to deal with those. There's no mobile anti-air at the very least, so this is kind of not good across the board, really. If you're a time fan, because yeah, Solo's going to have this one easy. Guys, these games are live, by the way, so just to confirm, these games are 100% live. They have the they have a third feature, so you can return to game or rewind. You don't get the rewind option on the end of game screen, so these games are being played live now, confirmed, at least for this first. Let's go watching game again, but our first series is looking like a bit of a sweep right now. I actually don't know what I'm going to do if I finish up super early today, because we don't really have much of a filler. Maybe we do just go offline until ESL Open Cup. Like, I don't like doing that, but it might not be a bad thing to do today. Especially if these games are super quick. Alright, anyways, it's a problem for later, as right now we go into this next map along. Let's get this up and ready to start. As time's on the top left, Solo's in the bottom right. Of course, it's game 3 of this best of 5 now. Let's see how things end up. Around the side, a nice large map, of course. So we get this large map in the map pool underway. Let's see what comes of it. As do have our racks coming up. I mean, Time tried a couple different things now. Honestly, I mean, first game was not going badly for him, right? First game was actually looking to be pretty okay for Time, I would say. Like, it was going alright. It was going decently. Just Solo was just about able to hold on. So I wouldn't even say that necessarily at first. You would have had to, I didn't even really feel like Time needed to change it up from Bio. And especially to go mech on, like, the good Terror map. I mean, I get it's good for mech as well, but it actually is very good at dying with mech in that exact way that he died. Because Solo can rally units through the bottom side so quickly. If you can never get to the point of stabilizing, well, then mech just isn't good. And obviously, he never got to the point of stabilizing, so yeah, a little bit rough there, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, we can go back and we can talk about that game a lot, but I think at the end of the day, and the choice is a lot, but obviously, Time had a plan. His plan hasn't panned out, and now he's got to fight from 0-2 down, which is just not going to be easy. It will not be easy. I know that RTS games aren't that popular anymore, but I just don't understand the decision or lack of to not make an Starcraft 3. I think it's pretty simple. It's not going to make money. It's going to make money, but it's not going to make as much money as they would want to. And they've lost all their Starcraft, they've lost all their RTS developers, so they probably can't make a good quality RTS. They'd rather put resources elsewhere. The problem is if you present to... The problem is with Blizzard is that they have to present to Activision, hey, Activision, look, we can make Starcraft 3 and it'll make 10 million whatevers, right? You know, pick your unit, because I don't know how much it's going to make. And it's like, it will take 50 people to make this game for X amount of years. Then Activision are going to say, well, what if we take those 50 people for X amount of years, and we make this other game, which is in a more popular genre, and it makes 10 times what StarCraft 3 would make. And there's your problem, because it's all about profit turnovers, and the profit turnovers for StarCraft just aren't as good as the profit turnovers for other games, and that's unfortunately what Activision seem to push for, and that's obviously not what is going to do it for StarCraft 3, so... Yeah, it's not like you can just... It's a big decision, right, as well. It's like, you know, you gotta kind of like... You don't just crack out StarCraft 3 in a couple of years. That's a big thing, so... Yeah, I think it's, I think it's actually kind of... I think it'd be more amazing if they did make it. That would be kind of the shock. Anyways. Minutes of this game, pretty standard going into Stim. It is going to be the 2 racks, so getting that 2 rack setup beginning. Stim coming through, a few Marines on the way out. Starport going to finish up as well. As again, we just get everything kind of up and rolling for the moment. It really is pretty calm right now. There is going to be an armory, so he's going to go for this little bit of a funky setup on the follow-up, where it's going to be kind of this marine drop, but also you'll have Hellbats to support it, which is not what you would usually see. So it's possible that this catches Solo a little bit off guard as these Hellions join up together. And yeah, it's going to have a little bit more power than usual, so definitely a possibility to... definitely a good possibility to deal some damage, put it that way. Let's see exactly how it plays out. Aliens going across. First Banes are on the way up. Going to be important to get those into the action ASAP here, right? Going to be seeing a Hatcher in the 4th. Going to be taking a lot of hits. I mean, as these Banelings are ready, I mean, that's great, but they don't have speed, right? So they're in danger of being target fired down. And so this is a success story already for Time, who starts Drilling Claws, by the way. 2nd factory coming up, and now Engineering Base. So he's going to have real focus on the Drilling Claws and the mine production. And yeah, the more he delays this 4th base, the better that's going to turn out to be for Time, right? This is, like I say, like, this is not a huge commitment. Adding that armory a bit sooner, he gets the Drilling Claws. Okay, he delays 1-1. But he really is getting a lot out of it. So I kind of like it for Time. Nice little Reaper Grenade as well, using it till the end, and saves everything possible there too. Just going to be pulling that back across a bit of a different direction at the very, very end of this, so... There we go. Cool. That was exciting, wasn't it, guys? A little attack from Time, but it's not over yet. Let's see our army moving back over the right side. The rest of these units, the Marines and Marauders, going to load up into medevacs. Maybe Marines and Mines, actually, but they are on their way over, so looking to finally reinforce in a different location, look to bring pressure elsewhere. Drop down that bottom side. It is Widow Mines inside that medevac. I was just wondering exactly what it was. But yeah, a couple of Widow Mines mixed in. Remember, he's got Drilling Claws. These Widow Mines are going to burrow quick. They're going to be able to do a lot of damage. And if Solar is not careful here, here we go. If these Lings running through, first Widow Mine shot is good. Going to connect on a bunch of Ling Bane. Now another Widow Mine gets cleaned out. And we're just going to be seeing Time bringing this army around the right-hand side. As we sit on down this ramp, a few of these group teamers already dropping. I mean, Time has just been very persistent with keeping his units out in this position, right? He's not really been, you know, he's made sure just to keep them out here more than anything else. I mean, that's just the summary. He's just kept them in position, he's kept them attacking all this time, and just making life as difficult as possible for Solar, trying to make these trades as bad as he possibly can make them. Lingbane continues through and is looking to keep on clearing up, as we do have Widow Mines getting some drone kills as well, by the way. I mean, kind of expected to some extent, right? They have drilling claws. It's very difficult to dodge away from all of these mine drops and to preserve all your workers, but that's the sort of pressure that's given Time a pretty substantial lead right now as Marines move forward. Queens are going to back up in a little bit of trouble. Transfusions being traded out across the board. Bane Force comes over that right side. A few medevacs are going to start to slip away. So yeah, I mean, just drones over time, and the thing is, Solo's only maintained a small worker lead, while also not trading that well. Time has been very efficient with those drops, keeping units alive for multiple attacks, and that all kind of goes the way at the end of the day of Time. And this is the sort of push now that Solo's going to struggle to deal with. He's on his way to Lurkers and Hive, so he doesn't have that tech ready to him just yet. Let's see what if he can make anything happen as these Widow Mines burrow up. Marine's going to press forwards. A couple of these Banes in some trouble already. A couple more Widow Mines are going to be burrowing. Santry gets killed off on the right side. The few Banes threaten to move on forward there, but Time is pretty quick to split back and to stay out of trouble. Rest of the Marines continue through. Medevac's taking some damage, so taking quite a few hits. Banes, I mean, are the Widow Mines available? There is a one or two. Somehow the first Widow Mine goes underneath the Medevacs of all places, and Solar is going to find a fight. Push that back. Well, Time gets held off, and I gotta say, impressive from Solar, because I thought he was in some serious trouble here. You know, like I say, his Hive was coming up. None of those Hive tech units or upgrades are in play yet. He had taken a lot of damage from Widow Mines. He was trailing in supply, but he finds the fight to keep himself alive. So, credit to Solar. Kinda a good defense there. A much needed defense as well. Widow Mine shot goes, and a few of those Lings already going down. Bane's continuing through. We do just see our Ling Bane Queen continuing through as well. Marines are going to start heading forwards, going for those Overlords. So Overlord's taking a bit of damage. Well, tanks are going to unsiege and just going to be seeing this command center lifting up and heading across to the left-hand side. Sometimes he's going to have to try and go some different directions. The good thing for Time out of everything else is that because he had such a good start to the game, he still has the 5th base coming up, right? He still has those setups kind of happening for him pretty quickly here. Just going to be seeing a snipe coming down. First Viper going down. Bioarmy continuing to stem down. Here we go with Ling Bane Hydra. Starting to push through. Banes continue to come in as well. Meantime, the problem is Time just can't break through the Lurkers just yet. As we continue around, I mean, Time is going to get pushed back. Solar's army still just stabilizing thanks to those Lurkers. I feel like we say this oh so often, though, right? Like, oh, why did the Zerg survive? He had Lurkers out! But it does just enter a new phase of the game once those Lurkers are here. That's very difficult for the Terran to deal with, so let's see what Time's response is going to be. Couldn't quite cope with them in that first game. Can he cope with them this time around? These snipes coming down as a couple of lurkers taking hits, but I mean, they're not dead, so there's still a bit of life left on them. Can they get away? The ghost can't really chase them down. A little bit unfortunate. Just gonna see Lingbane Lurker gonna move through. Just gonna be jumping in on top of this initially as well. It's just gonna be seeing our base going down in an instant. This happened on 2000 Atmospheres as well. He was just not in position to defend when he needed to defend. That was very, very strange as we move up this ramp. These lurkers do get turned around. Hydra's coming through. Tank goes down. Marauder goes down. Just gonna see the best of these Banes moving up this ramp. Gonna take down the Widow Mine. The rest of the lurkers continuing in, so just continue to build these. I mean, these ghosts on the top side can get a good few snipes. The lurker shots starting to cancel a couple, but yeah, not enough. Slings and Veins and Hydras kind of wanted to go on the left. I mean, the rest of the lurkers still joining up as well, of course. And still connecting. You see these Hydras coming through. Medevacs are being shot down. And now going to get the rest of these Banes jumping on top of this. These lurkers continue through. SCVs are still taking a ton of damage. And time just cannot stabilize at all. Scylla was just the better play here today, guys. He was just the better player. Plain and simple. I mean, not the most exciting of matches, I gotta say, but unfortunately that's just the way today goes.